my favorite thing this week is women's sports.
Yeah.
It's female athletes. It's amazing performances. I know most of you are just listening to this, but if you're watching, my call sheet this week is like 12 pages long because there's so much that we have to cover. Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And you're listening to Raising the Game, a podcast covering the rise in opportunity, visibility, and accessibility of women's sports globally. We're a wife-husband team who are avid sports fans, raising two young girls and find the exposure and investment in women's sports a gateway for them and other young girls like them to see their passions for play, performance, and leadership, not as extracurriculars to be added to a resume or a discipline with an expiration date after high school or college, but as a real opportunity to build a career as an athlete, a coach, an analyst, an athletic trainer, a director of sports operations, or maybe even a podcaster.
Each week, we're bringing you the top stories in women's professional and sometimes collegiate sports. We'll highlight primetime performers, key business decisions, economic impacts, and the growing opportunities for women's athletics. You'll hear our perspectives on these stories as fans, but perhaps more importantly, as parents who value what these stories mean for our kids. If there's a storyline or topic you'd like to hear us talk about, reach out via email at raisingthegamepod@gmail.com or on social media at RTG_pod.
We're back, y'all.
We are back.
Another week with you here.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. We'll start out the episode here just with another reminder. We'll have links, continue to have links in our bio for ways to support the community here in Minnesota. I'm sure there are other communities that are impacted as well, but obviously with us living here, it's near and dear to our heart. So if you want to check those out, typically we're anchoring into local businesses that we're trying to support or local community action funds. So you can take a look at those in the show notes.
Yep.
All right. Before we get into favorite thing today, I just have to say thank you to the people who listen to this podcast.
Absolutely.
It's been really fun. This is our eighth episode, seventh that we've published, and just the feedback, the random texts, people asking for us to cover different topics and dig in on different things, the inspiration that it's providing for folks to go check out collegiate and professional women's sports. It means the world to us.
I think it started out as almost weird to hear you say, oh, so-and-so is listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And now it's super fun when they're like, oh, we're going to this women's sporting event this week because of your podcast. And it's like, this is why we do it. So
so just thank you. We're kind of learning as we go, figuring it out. But we really appreciate people coming back in
100%
week over week. So with that, what's your favorite thing?
That hockey game, just absolutely insane. We were both working, and I was on a call. Towards the end of this call, I'm not on mute, and I'm like peeking my head out of the office to watch the game, to see them go up to tie it, to go into overtime. And I'm like running around the house, whispering, yes, yes. And I was just...
it was not scream whispering, folks, because I was also on a call and I just hear Alex yelling, yes, yes. And I'm like, oh my God, we must have scored.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So I agree. If I had to pick one, I can't even do it. My favorite thing this week is women's sports.
Yeah.
It's female athletes. It's amazing performances. I know most of you are just listening to this, but if you're watching, my call sheet this week is like 12 pages long because there's so much that we have to cover as far as these
formatting it. I was like,
performances.
This is an hour and a half.
And it's like Olympics. There's huge news in the WNBA right now. We've got She Believes Cup coming up. There are just so many things.
Yeah, it's a lot
that we could be talking about. And so I think it's just a huge props to the women who are performing now, but also the women who came before them,
Yeah.
right? Who really
Yep.
paved the way and created the demand
Yeah.
for the exposure that we now all get to appreciate these performances and the dedication of these athletes. So
Yeah.
my favorite thing is just women's sports.
All women's sports.
Maybe cliche for a women's sports podcast, but here we are. I'll be a cliche all night long.
It's our favorite thing. All right. You want to move into headlines?
Yeah, let's go through them.
All right. In major broadcast programming shakeup, ESPN to replace Sunday Night Baseball with Women's Sports Sundays.
Okay. I wish we had more time in the programming this week to talk about this, because this is
massive.
Huge. First of all, I want to say I have a quote here actually from the ESPN Executive Vice President of Programming and Acquisitions, Rosalind Durant. She said, Women's Sports Sundays, which is what the show is going to be called, isn't an experiment. It's a flag in the ground and a continuing commitment.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I think the immediate reaction a lot of times is like, oh, they're testing this.
Yeah.
Right. And she's coming out and saying, like, this isn't a test. Like, we've already done the test.
Yeah.
They passed with flying colors. And we're going to now take what was probably, frankly, a tired broadcast on ESPN. Now, Sunday Night Baseball, just as a sidebar, is moving. NBC is going to kind of own that going into the 2026 MLB season. So it's not like that's going away. If you still want to watch your baseball, you go over to NBC. But ESPN now is saying, we want to spotlight specifically WNBA, if they have a season, and NWSL games of the week. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Women's college basketball programs in LSU, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Iowa are outselling their men's programs on the secondary market.
Also huge. And these
massive.
are not small margins, y'all. LSU right now. So all four of those women's teams are ranked in the top 25. They're actually in the top 15 right now. But LSU right now, their women's program, secondary market average ticket sale value, $77 a ticket. The men's program, $16. Now, I don't think the men's program's ranked, so we could say like not apples to apples, but I do think Oklahoma's men's program is ranked, and that is going women's side $50, men's side $35.
Yeah.
So amazing to see.
Obviously,
these are stellar, well-known programs on the women's side for NCAA, but you love to see it.
You do love to see it. Speaking of which, that LSU South Carolina game we spotlighted last weekend, in the primetime slot, it drew record views of 2.2 million peak viewers and 1.7 million average viewers, while competing with the Olympics primetime broadcast and the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, so also a big deal. This became the most viewed women's college basketball game so far this season, and it's the fourth most watched women's college basketball game on ESPN of all time.
Wow. That's massive.
Yeah.
Jordan Childs lands her fifth perfect 10 in a row on the floor. She's unstoppable.
Girl can't be stopped.
Denver Summit FC have sold 45,000 tickets to their home opener in their inaugural season and have opened up 500 level seating at Mile High Stadium.
That was 45,000, y'all, and they're playing where the Broncos play.
That is
and
crazy.
likely to get close to that 50,000 mark is my guess.
Yeah, that's wild. U.S. Women's National Team announces She Believes Cup roster for matches upcoming between March 1 and March 7th.
We are going to talk about this a little bit later. We'll rehash Caitlin's score.
Yep, your
predictions for the roster.
Jessica Pegula defeats Alina Svitolina in Dubai to win her 10th title.
Yep.
I actually went through and tried to look for names, and I totally missed that line.
Well, good luck with the next one.
We're going to try on this one. World number one, Gino Thidikol wins home tournament LPGA Thailand.
Yes.
CBS signs partnership with NWSL and U.S. Soccer Federation.
I didn't get to look into this one in a lot more detail, but I think it's something we'll come back to, the implications for that. CBS essentially wants to be the main virtual sponsor listed on games,
Okay.
that's like a big signal.
That's a big deal.
They see that as good exposure
Yeah.
for them.
And Lindsey Vonn shares that she'd likely have to have amputated her leg had the surgeon in Italy not successfully performed her surgery.
Yeah, so she had I don't know, 3 or 4 surgeries, I think, in Italy. There were more once she got back stateside. Y'all have probably, if you've been on social media, you've probably seen the X-ray. Like, she shattered her tibia.
Yeah.
And so she just shared recently that had they not been able to act as quickly as they could, she'd have lost her leg.
And how many knuckleheads have come out of the woodwork? See, I told you.
Too many.
I told
you.
Too
many knuckleheads. Do you know what she would have done? She would have come back. She would have competed in the Paralympics.
She would have cut it off there, beat those guys up in the media, and then went to the Paralympics.
Yeah, which are coming up. By the way, we're going to do a quick mention of that, but we'll start covering a little bit of that in the next couple of weeks here.
For sure. All right, Olympics wrap up. Let's do this.
Man, it's been really funny these last couple of days. Our girls have been like, "Are the Olympics on?"
Turn on the Olympics.
And we're like, "Sorry, they're not." I feel like the timing too with Milano Cortina was perfect because it's kind of like the moment you woke up in the morning, you kind of just have it on.
Yeah, you have something on.
But anyways, I digress. So we're gonna go through just a couple of maybe like headline pieces, some stats coming out around medal counts and viewership and things like that. And then because I get to decide what we talk about here with Alex's help.
Yeah.
We are going to go through all of the incredible performances. Yeah. Not all of the female athletes, because if we did that, we'd be here all night. But some of the spotlight ones, some you've heard from us before, some are going to be a little bit new. We do hope you enjoy that. We'll do a brief recap on medal count, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Paralympics coming up. So, and we'll get a chance to do some reflection if we don't incorporate that into the discussion over the next couple minutes here. So, let's just start by saying that these 2026 Winter Games were for the girls.
Yeah, 100%.
Women were in the spotlight. We've talked about here before that, NBC made very intentional marketing decisions to feature female athletes in their promotional content for the games. That continued throughout the games. And even when you watched the advertising, I mean, we talked about the Visa commercial with Michaela Schifrin. But there's that one, what is the one where the family's sitting on the couch and the little boy and he's in his jammies.
Oh yeah.
But they're watching women's hockey.
Yeah, they are.
Right. And then he's got a poster of a women's hockey player. Those are very intentional choices. Because everybody watches women's sports.
Yes, they do.
Trademark together. So a couple of statistics for you, just to have a few things in your back pocket when you want to get into it with your coworkers about this. 47% of the athletes in the Winter Games were women. Mm-hmm. This was a high record for the Winter Games, the most gender balanced Winter Games in history. This is also from an American performance perspective. It is the first time that the U.S. finished solo second. So second place in both gold and total medals. So they've tied for those before, but this time they finished as a clear second. 67% of gold medals were won by women.
Wow.
And that includes combined teams. So we think of the Corys, right, for mixed curling. And there was a mixed aerials competition where we won a gold medal and things like that. And then 61% of all medals won by Team USA were won by women. Yeah.
And
now, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it was interesting because didn't we have a stat that NBC was going to do 60% coverage of women over men? And it was exactly almost 60% winnings by women.
Yeah, so I don't think it was coverage. They do more coverage of women's sports. I don't think it was quite 60%, but they tend to lean towards primetime viewing around women's sports, and they have had for the last couple of games, including summer. Okay. So what is interesting and kind of ties into that is that this is the 6th consecutive Olympic Games, so summer and winter included,
Mm-hmm.
where women have outperformed men on Team USA in gold in total medals.
Amazing.
So they are bringing home more glory
Way more. Yep.
than our men's athletes. Now, you might argue, okay, well, the men's side, the competition is tougher.
Yeah.
It's more, there's more opportunity in other countries for men versus women, which is all very fair.
Yep.
What I do want to say is that we posted a little infographic at the end of last week. And if you looked across the 10 at the time, top medal earning countries,
Yep.
8 of those were majority won by women.
Yep.
So it's not just a USA thing. This is as opportunity is an investment comes around, women perform. Couple media highlights for us here. One right off the top, speaking of that gold medal hockey game, 7.7 million people tuned into the USA Canada gold medal game at its peak, making it the most watched women's hockey game in history. And then the AP, so Associated Press, wrote an article on the women's sports ecosystem that is flourishing around the market. And this is actually something Alex and I want to do an episode on it's at some point.
Yeah.
But to talk about this entire, including us making this podcast, right? But like this entire ecosystem of journalism, reporting, interviews, all of those kinds of things that have come up around women's sports as they're chronicling that rise. And actually we get a lot of our material from these places. So we mentioned together, that's like it's a conglomerate of top athletes who have essentially pooled funding and resources. They back certain initiatives. They do the media side. They're the ones responsible for the everyone that watches women's sports gear that you now see. I've worn it here on the pod. And that is a really cool group there. There's the Gist, Just Women's Sports, the 9 Sports, Goals, all caps, Good Game with Sarah Spain, A Touch More, which is a podcast done by Megan Rapinoe of U.S. Women's National Team Soccer Glory. And her wife, Sue Bird, who is of WNBA, Yukon Husky. She's like one of the best to ever do it. And then Not Gonna Lie with Kylie Kelsey. I had to throw this in there because the Kelseys were at the Olympics and they got to do sit-down interviews with like Michaela Schifrin, Layla Edwards, Breezy Johnson. Like, it's just so cool. And I think Kylie does an incredible job of like just highlighting these women. So, and then fun fact and a shout out for the home team here. The Twin Cities were found to be tuning in more than any other major U.S. metro. There were 37 athletes at these Winter Games from or associated with Minnesota. Does anybody want to guess which state in the United States brought home the most medals?
Minnesota.
It was Minnesota.
All right.
Long shot. So
my notes here literally just say it makes sense. We're winter people. We do winter things.
Pride and glory.
And I mean, I think you do see it too.
We're a winter people.
We turn out. I mean, we turn out for Lynx games. We turn out for Frost games. Like they're no slouches turning up at those games.
I mean, y'all, this was on the men's side of things, but like you want to talk about a winter people and turning out for sports. They play outdoor hockey professional games every once in a while and they like go to different cities. This is like a couple years ago and they're playing and it was like minus 20 degrees and people still go watch that hockey game.
I watched a Gopher game at TCF or whatever it is now, Huntington Bank Stadium many years ago. And my beer was freezing. It was turning to slush. It was so cold. Like we do it. So
we're a winter people.
We are a winter people.
We show up. All right. So shifting gears, I think you kind of get the gist, get the idea of like how incredible just the data would support these performances were. We're going to start to go through some of them in case you missed them, in case you want to follow these athletes further. I just have to gush for the next couple of minutes and feel free to chime in as I gush. I'd love your thoughts. So, like I said, a couple of these we've highlighted. So starting off the top, from the host nation, Italy, Federica Brignone, She was 10 months post crash where she sustained multiple broken bones and a torn ACL. She won, not one, but 2 gold medals on her home soil in alpine skiing. And she's the oldest gold medalist in the discipline.
I mean, as a 38-year-old, this is my favorite type of story because it tells me I might still have a chance out there.
You might still have a chance.
No, I don't.
And you know what? Coming up next are just a couple of 40-year-old working moms. So probably one of my favorite moments of the games was when Alana Myers-Taylor found out that she won the monobob gold.
Yep.
If you can go back and like look at the video of that, she has 2 non-hearing sons. One of them has some developmental disabilities as well. And so she's a hearing person. And so she's learned to sign to them.
Oh, nice.
And so she's on the little like waiting area where you sit if you're like in medal contention. She finds out she's won. Her nanny is right there and they're 2 boys. And she like bends over and is just like crying. And then she pops up and she signs like mommy won to these boys.
Oh my gosh.
And then they like give her a big hug and just got the flag draped over her. And I was like, a win for the moms everywhere, right? And then, of course, she shouted out her nannies, her husband, like her support crew. We can't do these things alone. And I just love that. Also, just like real quick, most decorated Black athlete in Winter Games history. She's the oldest woman to win an individual medal. So again, we're set,
there you go.
For the more mature, folks.
For the more mature audience.
And then alongside her, Callie Humphreys, she pilots the 2-woman bobsled to a bronze, only 18 months postpartum. Y'all,
there you go.
Women are superheroes.
Yeah.
And her break woman, Jasmine Jones, who we highlighted here, who is one of our Team USA's Black athletes, also a mom.
There you go.
So a win for the moms. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about USA women's hockey. So this is their first gold since 2018.
Yep.
I think it's something like 7 gold medal. Well, now 8 gold medal games have been played in the Olympics all time. 7 of those have featured USA and Canada. Canada has had the better of it up until, well, they have the better record. They won 5 golds. The US now has 3. But you could not have scripted this better. Like this is going to become like what Miracle was to film. Like the Lake Placid 1980s Miracle on ice. This will become
very
that
similar to
thing.
That.
And I think
it was cool because they were talking about that. They were talking about at the end of the men's game. They were saying the Miracle thing that happened in the 1980s was kind of this inflection point or whatever for young men in the United States to actually start picking up hockey and being more interested in hockey. And that's why we're where we are skill wise in hockey. And they're saying that this might be exactly what you just said for the women's side. Like this might be the point where young women, girls are starting to look at these hockey players and going, I can do that. I can be a professional and go play for my country, play for a professional team. And this could be like kind of the upswing that we're going to start to see.
Yeah. I think I agree with that 100%. I think the one thing that I'll say is like a slight tweak on it a little bit is that it used to be that you'd watch women's professional hockey at the Olympics. And then you'd say, well, we'll see them again in 4 years. And the PWHL has completely changed the landscape. And so I just want to make sure we give credit to that league for creating a space in between. Like I've seen a lot of things online since the game of like, where can I watch more women's hockey? It was so fun. And it's like PWHL, y'all, starts again on Thursday. We'll get into it. All right. So a couple highlights from the USA women's hockey team. So first, Caroline Harvey, we talked about her last week, but tournament MVP, most points of all players, most assists of all players, Olympic All-Star, best plus minus, like every award, every accolade, everything, every achievement, like give it to her. This is extra impressive coming off of what happened in the 2022 Olympics in Beijing. I think she ended up playing like very minimal minutes. She was 19 at the time, like let's cut her some slack. I think got benched in the final game. Like she didn't have a great showing, but they talked a lot about how she used that to fuel her training since then. And she's really benefited from Mark Johnson's tutelage at University of Wisconsin, and then John Robleski of Team USA. Of course, we have to highlight Captain America, Hillary Knight. Again, storybook, scores the game tying goal within an empty net situation in the final to set the all-time U.S. scoring record in the Olympics, both for goals and points. She also got engaged while she was there to fellow Olympian Brittany Bowe. Speed skater. Yep. Right. And they had met at the 2022 Olympics and then turn around and
awesome.
Now we're engaged. Super cute. Layla Edwards, we talked about her quite a bit. So first Black woman to suit up for Team USA, plus the first to win a medal, plus the first to win gold. I mean, she's just all the first.
The assist on the game tying goal.
Assist on the game tying goal. She had a great tournament too.
Yeah, she did.
If you want to watch her or Caroline Harvey or Kirsten Sims, just go watch the Badgers play in the WCHA conference.
We'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Erin Frankel, so she is Team USA's #1 goaltender. She's the first goaltender to record 3 shutouts in a single tournament, the first American goaltender to shut out the Canadians in Olympic play. So that 5-0 win, game, round robin play made history. And then she made 30 saves in the gold medal match. This was something you had pointed out. She hadn't faced a ton of shots. A ton of pressure. She was amazing.
Yeah, she did great.
And frankly, Canada's only goal came
at the beginning of the
right at the beginning of the second. It was shorthanded. It's kind of like one of those moments where you're coming out of the locker room. You think you're locked in on the power play, like you just got caught off guard. Yeah. But then she righted the ship and
to stand how many more shots after that,
right?
And keep it together for the rest of the game was very impressive.
Yeah. And then just a couple of additional things, not necessarily player performance specific, these little moments, right? John Robleski, the head coach's reaction when they won, brought me to tears. He just started to cry on the bench. His staff came around and was hugging him, and they're all hyped and excited, and the players are going nuts on the ice, but he was just in tears.
Yeah, in tears and just soaking it in,
and just seems such a great leader for that group. Really committed to those women and making sure that they are able to perform at their best. Another tearjerker, if you haven't seen the video that Haley Wynn's brothers, so Haley Wynn's brothers, you probably saw if you go on any kind of social media, they're the 3 brothers who were dressed up crazy at every single game.
Oh, okay.
Famously all wearing eagle masks at one game, but they're always matching, right?
Yeah.
And they're goofy, but they posted this adorable video right before or sent something to her, a voice memo or something. And they talk about how much work she's put in and how much they've seen her strive. I'm going to cry. And it ends with, I don't actually know if I can make it through this, you guys.
Do I need to say it?
No.
You got it?
It ends with, you have 3 older brothers who now look up to you.
Yeah.
And that just it's these moments.
Yes, it is.
I love the Olympics or any sports really. And then finally, this is probably a little bit going under the radar, but I got to mention Ellen Hughes.
Yeah.
You might be like, who is Ellen Hughes? I didn't see a Hughes on that team. I saw a Hughes on the men's team.
Couple of Hughes
that came in clutch for them. Ellen Hughes, believe it or not, is those Hughes boys' mother. And she is also on the coaching staff for the women's team.
Yeah.
So she came on in 2023 as a player development coach. She's worked with a lot of the players on their mental side, on their training, worked very closely with Hillary Knight, Megan Keller, who scored the game-winning goal.
Yep.
But she's actually a former member of USA Hockey. She played before they had women's hockey at the Olympics. She won a silver medal at the IIHF Women's World Championships in 1992. But what a just a legacy for her. She actually has 3 boys who play in the NHL. Luke is the middle one who didn't make the national team for the Olympics, but just so cool to
Yeah.
see like the influence of one person when they are determined enough to like
Yeah.
share what they love
Yep.
with others.
Yeah.
So wanted to shout that out. Do you have anything else about the hockey game that you want to talk about? I know you
I
kinda-
kind of saw an interesting stat, and I don't want to dig too much into the men's team, but this is the first, I think, year that I saw that the men won the Olympic and the IHF, and the women won the Olympic and the IHF. So we have all 4 golds right now.
All 4 goals.
From
Ooh,
this year.
target on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't dig too much into the men's team. We're purposely avoiding that topic right now. And I'm sure if you know, you know.
Yep.
Let's move on to better stories. Figure skating. So my personal like side fave, right? Alyssa Liu and then Amber Glenn. Isabella Vito put in some amazing performances, but I think like the spotlights were really on Glenn and Liu. To see Alyssa Liu win gold on her own terms. I mean, this is just not an example of achievement in that sport that I think we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Typically you had to kind of be like the ice princess, and like there's a lot of stories about eating disorders and all sorts of things, and like she was concerned about that at 16 and decided to retire. We talked about that away. And then come back and win a gold medal.
Yeah, win a gold medal just like that.
And like, I know you said this a lot, but like watching her skate, there was just a different aura around her of freedom and joy and like lightness.
Yeah. It was so wild. Like I've never seen somebody perform in a way that just like inevitable, like automatic, just it's almost like nothing could affect her at all.
She didn't seem like she was under pressure at all.
Yeah. Like she was just out there.
I have a couple quotes from her. She said, "I just add skating into my life, but skating isn't my life like it was before." And I think that is like such a lesson for all of us in a lot of things, a lot of ways. And then she also is quoted as saying, "I don't know if I'm changing the game, but I'm changing the game for myself."
Yeah, and I mean, it's very powerful. We saw, I think, Simone Biles step away.
Yeah,
one of the last Olympic Games for
2020.
Yeah,
I have to like do the weird summer
like a year ago, right?
Yeah, I do.
For some mental health issues, and the way that Alyssa Liu did this and was able to get a medal, put her mental health first. Like, it's very powerful to show that to women and men, to be honest. But also to say like, there could be a new template for young athletes. You don't have to live, eat, breathe your sport 24/7. You could still have a life and you can still perform at a high level.
Yeah. And frankly, I think as we like start to get to the age with our girls where like they are starting to venture into youth sports, that world is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And we will talk about that at some point, but like, this is so refreshing to see that like, again, understanding at her age that she was at risk of losing her childhood basically, or like youth, and then having the support system around to make those decisions. And people who believe in you is just like such a great story.
So great.
One last thing on Liu, I had to mention like the whole vibe on the medal podium with Kaori Sakamoto, who is a legend in the sport in her own right. She's leaving these Olympics as the most decorated individual female skater of all time with 4 medals. And Ami Nakai, she's 17 years old. And she's the only woman besides Amber Glenn to even attempt a triple axel, let alone land one in competition. So they had just like such a moment of like sisterhood and like just lifting each other up. And you just like love to see it. You love to see people like enjoy the moment. Right. Speaking of Amber Glenn, I was so inspired by her resilience. We watched her short program performance. It was disappointing for her. It was a little bit as like not a super in-depth figure skating fan. Hard to understand like why she lost points. So then you understand like she missed an entire jump that she was supposed to do. And she was devastated. Like it was hard to watch, and like you feel for these athletes who do put in so much time and commitment to their craft. But to see her come back and nail her free skate, she had the highest technical score. She had the third highest overall score on the free skate, and she went from 13th to 5th. Like almost on the podium, right? From totally bombing out her short program. Just that resilience, I think her and Lou sort of, I think Amber Glenn's quote was like they're like two woke bitches or something like that. Like they're just like not the normal image that you think of with figure skaters. And I think it's good to see that. Like it's good to see different body types and personalities and like whatever, like being up there and having success. And then also, y'all, if you have not watched her gala skate,
go to the gala skate and watch her. She does this like lean back
my God
skate. And I was like, that's impossible. Like no one can do that.
Is impossible. Another thing that's just like a funny sidebar is I was talking to Alex about, this was a couple days ago, about how like they are on a skate and then they lift their foot up behind their head and then they somehow straighten their leg out. I'm like, I would break. I would break. So we really enjoyed the figure skating. It was a really fun kind of dive back into that for me, for sure. All right, moving on. We've got Michaela Schifrin. This was huge last week. So after we aired our episode, we had talked about how she had her final opportunity at a medal. Really needed to get that 2022 Beijing bugaboo off her back, and she did it golden.
That slalom run that we were watching. That was intense. That was awesome.
Yeah. So third gold for her in her career, coming 8 years after her last medals. She is the first U.S. skier to earn 3 Olympic golds. Amazing. So real testament to her resilience as well. So you mentioned she had a really bad crash a couple, maybe 18 months ago, and is back competing. Jessie Diggins, the home state girly here. She did just announce officially her retirement from competition after the March World Cup. I guess there's a World Cup for cross country skiing, but she gutted out a bronze medal in the 10-kilometer freestyle race after like serious bruising to her ribs in a previous race. Also, if you haven't seen her finish, it's like just striving and then collapse at the finish line. And then Eileen Gu, I got to give some props to the Chinese national. She has become the most decorated freestyle skier of all time. And that is not an error. She is now the most decorated man or woman to do freestyle skiing, with 6 Olympic medals and the first free skier to back-to-back medal in 3 disciplines. So let me say this a different way. She competes in all 3 free ski disciplines. So that's slopestyle, big air, half pipe.
Yeah.
Most of the people she competes against in these races do one of those.
Yeah.
In the 2022 Beijing Olympics, she medaled in all 3. In the 2026 Milano Cortina Olympics, she medaled in all 3. She also, just as a sidebar, scored a 1580 on her SAT. That is a perfect score, folks.
Oh, wow.
And she's got a whole other bunch of business ventures. She actually, there's some reporting out there that she is the highest paid woman at the Olympic Games, $12.3 million or something last year.
Okay.
0.1 million of that came from actually her sport.
Yeah.
The rest is endorsements. Yeah. But if you haven't seen her viral press conference yet, we are going to introduce you, and you can go find it if you want to, because this is gold, and this Eileen Gu energy is like the type of energy that I wish I could bring to
work
asinine conversations. She was asked by a reporter after earning silver in the slopestyle and big air events with the half pipe to go, if it felt like 2 silvers won or 2 golds lost. And the best part of her response, if you watch the video, is how she laughs at him to start. Because what an absurd question, sir.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you ask that?
We talked about it too. It's like you could have asked a very similar question and not asked it that way. Like you could have asked.
Yeah.
There's a million different ways to ask that question without kind of making a dig at her.
And also we talked in the last episode about like, it is already a huge accomplishment to just be at the Olympics competing. To get on the podium at all is amazing. And so like, I don't think these athletes think about, I mean, they do, but like you win a medal, you're probably not sitting there being like, if you're really close, maybe, but like, I don't know. But let's go back because her response was just like so golden and I aspire to be her one day. So he asked the question. She laughs very kind of like, are you serious right now?
Yep.
And she says, I'm the most decorated female free skier in history. I think that's answer in and of itself.
Yeah.
And she goes on to talk about how the expectations on her keep getting higher and higher.
Yep.
But it's just as hard for her to go out and win a medal.
Yeah.
And it's even harder because she competes in all three disciplines.
Yeah.
Yet a lot of her competition, they specialize in one. Right. So what a masterclass in how to respond to silly questions.
I feel like if I do that at work, I'm going to get fired, but
yeah,
maybe I'll try it.
Couple more here. We'll rapid fire through these. So Marie-Philippe Poulin, top women's hockey scorer of all time. So all teams with 20 goals, 5-time Olympic gold medalist, only player to score in 4 different gold medal games. We don't know if this will be her last games. This was her 5th along with Hillary Knight.
She did get a hurt knee or leg, I think.
Yeah, played through an injury.
See how that goes.
Kayla Kuhn, she was on that gold medal mixed aerials team. Corey Tesi, first American woman to win a medal in curling, silver with the mixed doubles. And she set a record for most ends played in the Olympics by a single competitor, 193 ends of curling.
That's wild. I mean, in that last team game, that's a long game. Those are long games to go 10 ends.
Yeah, they are long. I think I did see a really funny meme I told you about where somebody was like, I think I've had it with the curl.
Yeah.
I think I've seen enough.
It might answer my question. One of my questions was, why can't we watch more curling? And I think we figured it out as by the end of the Olympics, everyone's we're good for a little bit now.
Femke Kok set an Olympic record for the 500-meter speed skate. She won a medal in both the 500 meters and the 1,000 meters for the Netherlands. Marianne Faton won the first ever Olympic gold in ski mountaineering, which if you saw videos of this. The only
thing I saw was Snoop Dogg commentating on it.
Which y'all should go find, absolutely.
And I was blown away. They're climbing stairs or skiing down.
I don't even know what's happening.
Didn't get a chance to watch enough of that.
And then we'll round this out with Chloe Kim. We've talked about her. She got a silver. She was not able to get her three-peat gold in the women's half pipe for snowboarding, but she got a silver. She conceded her gold, or however you want to look at it, to her mentee, Choi Gayon, who Chloe actually helped bring over to the States to help her train and things like that. Just a really beautiful moment between those two after Chloe's run on the half pipe, her final run. So, all right. Wrapping up our Olympics segment here, just a real quick, we went to the trouble to try and find out where you can watch these lovely athletes between now and the next Winter Games. Yep. And so, as we mentioned, hockey, PWHL season resumes on Thursday, 2/27. Regular season ends end of April.
Yep.
And then we head into the playoffs. The NCAA kind of ecosystem. There's 5 different kind of conferences within that for hockey. Conference tournaments begin this weekend,
I believe. Yep.
And championships are scheduled across the 5 conferences around March 7th. Yeah. So we'll get into the total overall Frozen Four or whatever that they do.
I was gonna say it'll be interesting to see how the PWHL, like what kind of happens with either, are they able to market it as, hey, you watch the Olympics, come watch this, or are they just gonna organically kind of pick up some more steam from the Olympics?
And I think you mentioned this last week too. It's going to be really interesting to see how these players come back. Like, do they have a hangover from the Olympic kind of run? Keep in mind that there were 61 PWHL players playing in the Olympics.
A whole bunch.
And 30, but 39 of those 61 played in that gold medal game. Canada was like all of Team Canada was there. And then I think the US had the college players. But there actually were the other teams, the remaining players actually were playing like scrimmages and things. I was reading about how they were getting some competitive, stuff going on. Ski season continues until the end of March. So there's alpine skiing, there's all the jumping and cross country and different World Cup tournaments. Those are not broadcast as frequently, but you can follow along with those if you're interested. World Cups tend to happen right at the end of March there.
All right.
Figure skating, they have the regional championships in early March with US figure skating championships in early April.
All right.
Snowboard, free ski, also in March. There's the iHeart US Revolution Tour and Aspen Snowmass for 2 competitions. And then bobsled, similar to these other winter sports, skiing and figure skating and whatnot, the competitive season kind of runs from November to about February or March. So bobsled's actually done now. So they were kind of, their season was centered around the Olympics, but come November, y'all, you can go watch them again.
Amazing.
All right. And then just a real quick reminder, we do have the Paralympics starting up next week. So March 6th through the 15th. There are 6 events: para alpine skiing, para biathlon, para cross country skiing, ice hockey, para ice hockey, snowboard and para snowboard, and wheelchair curling.
Okay.
So we will take a look at some of that and share some of the highlights here. There are 70 medals on the line.
Canada, USA on the ice hockey front.
Can't wait.
That would be amazing.
I can't wait.
All right, moving on to She Believes Cup roster preview and predictions. Caitlin had a prediction last week for every spot on the roster, and she went 17 for 26.
That is not a bad hit rate, y'all. That's 2/3. I copped to the fact that I did not know what the injury status and health protocols were that players were in. I think had I done my research, I may have been better, but here we are. Till next time. Yeah. We've got a lot of rosters we're going to predict in the next 18 months before the World Cup. All right. So notables about the roster selection from Emma Hayes. So 19 NWSL players and 7 European-based players were called up to the roster. As we learned last week, you get 26 roster slots in She Believes versus the typical kind of 23 for international competition. And Gotham FC from the NWSL had the most call-ups. Big omissions due to injury protocol, return to play protocol. Katarina Macario, we talked about her last week. Sophia Wilson still coming back from pregnancy. She hasn't been. Most of these players, the way it works is they have to be cleared by their club to play, and then they hit the selection pool for Hayes. They don't get to decide, like, as a national team, like, well, you can't play for your club, but you can play for the
us,
nation. Avery Patterson, Emily Sams, Croy Bethune, and Michelle Cooper are all out with injury. And of that group, only Cooper was the only one I did not list on the roster. So that was a bummer. Different from the last time we saw this team, right? We talked a lot about uncapped players, first caps, things like that. This time there are no uncapped players on Hayes' roster.
All right.
You have an average of 30 caps per player. The last time that Emma Hayes had no uncapped players was in the 2025 She Believes Cup.
Yeah.
So she really used last year to test the waters and see how people showed up. And it actually is paying off, as there's players here that got their opportunity last year who now are getting called into this fold. Of the players called up, there are 3 with 100+ caps. So that's Lindsay Heaps, Rose Lavelle, and Emily Sonnet. And I just pulled a little quote here from Hayes. She said about this tournament, 3 quality games in quick succession allow us to replicate conditions that will prepare us for the World Cup qualifying campaign this fall.
Yeah.
So this is a really good kind of testing ground. They have to do some travel. Like, how do you kind of get into your pre-game, game day, post-game protocols and stuff like that?
It kind of feels like we're out of the uncapped players lab, and now we're going to get into the experience and depth lab. Like, let's figure out where we're going here.
And within the system, how now we keep the players relatively the same. Can we build the chemistry and whatnot? So the slate coming up here for the team, we'll talk about the game this weekend, but they play on Sunday, March 1st against Argentina, the world number 30 team. Then a couple days later, they play on March 4th against Canada, the world number 10.
All right.
USA versus Canada, y'all.
There we go.
And then on March 7th, they play against Colombia, world number 20. So not the highest level of competition, but these are we've talked before on the pod about Colombia, like it can be a real menace. If they come out right, they're feisty, they come out hard. Canada is tough any day of the week. So that will be a great test. I am excited in particular. I just picked 2 players. There's plenty I could have chosen from, but Jamise Joseph, I think she just had her first call up like in the late part of last year. She was part of the squad in January. She scored a goal. The U.S. right now really it's missing triple espresso. Right. You've got Trinity Rodman back from injury, but Sophia Wilson, Mal Swanson are still coming back from post-pregnancy protocols and things like that. They both had babies last fall. So we're not rushing them, to be clear. But they're really trying to figure out like who is that consistent scoring threat. And I think Jamise Joseph might actually have the package, the speed, the creativity, the finishing, that could work well in an Emma Hayes system.
One of my questions for this section was who's going to be that X factor? Not that you don't have X factors already, but who's the new X factor? Who's going to kind of step up and become that next big thing?
And I think it could be Jamise. I also I put Giselle Thompson down. So this is Alyssa Thompson's younger sister. Alyssa plays up top. She could be one of those kind of scoring contributors. She transferred to Chelsea kind of famously last year from the NWSL. But I really liked how Giselle played in the friendlies in January. She was really creative out of the back. She was playing right back. One of the questions I have as we watch this team is who's going to play that left back position? So Crystal Dunn retired. Crystal Dunn's a longtime national team player, a stalwart in the NWSL. She's played all over the field, but she really became like the left back for the national team. And so they kind of have a hole there. That's actually one of my questions that I'll want answers to as I watch. Left back. It's a really, really critical position on a soccer field for those of you who maybe follow the game a little closer. They have some really good veteran leadership in Naomi Girma and Emily Sonnet in the center back position. And then you've got Emily Fox, Emily Sams, like a bunch of players who typically play right back. Now, Fox has some versatility, and I could see them shifting her into the left side. But that'll be something I'm watching for. The other one I've kind of already alluded to, but who's going to play the 9 for the national team? So to back us up a second and get out of like soccer speak, the 9 in soccer on a formation is like your center forward, like your main goal scorer, the target you're trying to get the ball into, usually can score with their head or with their feet. This was, typically Sophia Wilson when she was playing before she went through pregnancy and birth of her baby. This was Alex Morgan, famously. This was Abby Wambach. Like, this is a premier position, and I feel like the national team has sort of struggled to figure out, like, Wilson even isn't a true 9. She's more of a wing that can kind of play in the middle of the field. So I'm curious who can fill that space. And then my third question is, will we see them settle in earlier? When we watched the January friendlies, it took them an entire half to feel like they were kind of settled into their rhythm. I do think the experience of the team relative to the last few rosters probably helped them get into the groove, but will they be tight, right? And then you've also got this weird timing of European players who are in season right now and kind of getting towards the end of it, right? And then the NWSL players, majority of the roster, just ramping up. So like fitness, like that's, I think we're going to see minutes managed and things like that by Hayes. So it'll be interesting. I don't think we're looking at this as like a true test of what we're going to see in qualifying later this year. They've got those friendlies in, I think, April against Japan. Remember?
That's right.
Out. So I think we're going to keep seeing refinement of that, but I will be glued to the television for these. All right. Guaranteed we will talk about that.
Yes.
We'll probably touch on it next week. And then the week after, we'll do like a full debrief on the performances. So shifting gears from the pitch to the court, we have some major updates from the WNBA side. And we are going to keep today to really just the headlines. And then next week, we expect we're going to have more time. We had to kind of wrap up the Olympics this week, but more time to dive in to some of these developments. And there may be more.
Some bigger developments.
Kid you not, y'all, there was like breaking news like in a couple hours before we recorded this that I had to sneak in here. So I don't know what's happened since, but just an update on the situation with the collective bargaining agreement between the WNBA and the Players Union or Players Association. So the WNBA has officially come out and issued essentially a deadline for reaching an agreement in order to not delay season start. And we've talked about on this podcast many times of all the activities that have to happen before the season starts. That deadline, they say, is March 10th.
Like 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. We predicted this. If you want to go back and listen to I think it's episode 5. I think you asked me and I said it's got to be by like maybe late
early March.
Or no, excuse me, mid-March. Yes. Early March. So I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think it's a little bit of it's a leverage tactic, 100%. A pressure tactic by the league. The players would tell you that they have been responsive and negotiating in good faith. And so they're like, I don't understand why you're saying it's on us. On the other side, also announced today, there was a huge milestone reached in the 2025 season that for the first time ever under the old CBA, which they're kind of in like a weird like status quo period with, the revenue sharing mechanism was unlocked.
Which if you remember, it was like this weird,
so complicated
math that we tried to explain.
And what this will mean is that essentially after all that math is done, it leaves $8 million to be distributed across the 13 teams.
8.
So not even $1 million per team. And I mean, if maybe you didn't watch the WNBA last year, but like it was rocking.
It was wild.
So to me, this is a little bit like, it seems like the system's a little messed up.
And I don't know. I mean, we're going away from the call sheet a little bit here, but I think something that we talked about was like today, even it feels like this is a money laundering scheme for like WNBA or NBA execs. Like, it just feels like they're not opening their books. They're saying a lot of weird things.
Not responding to questions about like how they come up with the figures on losses and things like that. I'll be brief on this part. Essentially, the league and the union have gone back and forth trading some updates to the proposed agreement. The league continues to hold the position of the players union as being unrealistic. That is the word that they use. I think that is incredibly disrespectful. I think there's another way and they have not come to the table at all on the revenue sharing.
It doesn't seem like they're
portion.
serious at all.
Well, here's what I realized. Where they have made concessions in this agreement are on expenses. So they have conceded like, oh, what we will pay for housing in the 2026 season, or we will get you all like a free pass to the NBA League Pass or whatever, so you can watch all the games.
So they wrap their expenses up, and then they have to pay less. On their plan.
So this was my realization was like, they concede on that side. So they're willing to do the 5-star hotels and the chartered flights and like all of that stuff, which is all expense, but they have said nothing about revenue sharing.
Yeah.
And the union has even come down on the revenue sharing slightly. And so for the league to continue to say like, we're negotiating in good faith, like it is really starting to look even more squirrely than it did a month and a half ago when we started talking about this. So, it's confusing too. I think, I listened to a little bit of a podcast interview that, Players Association President Nneka Agumuke did. And she was saying like, how is it that the league on the one hand is going to investors and saying, you got to buy in now.
This is a gold mine.
For a $250 million, folks. It's $250 million to get a franchise into the league now. You got to buy in now. This is a gold mine. And yet at the same time, you're telling your employees there's no money.
Pockets are empty.
There's no money. And just to put a little bit of a fine point and little data behind it, I did look up the valuations. Now, like, valuations are a little speculative, like whatever. But for 2025, when you're trying to think through like, okay, what are these teams being valued at? And then you think about the league as a whole, the Golden State Valkyries expansion team last year, 1 year, $500 million, valued at $500 million. They sold out season tickets immediately. They sold out, I think almost all of their home games were sold out. And I think that they have a capacity seating there of like close to 40,000.
Wow.
Like it's a lot. New York Liberty, 400 to 420 million. Indiana Fever, 335 to 370 million. Seattle Storm, 330 million. Las Vegas Aces, 290 to 310 million.
Wild.
Like they're not not worth something.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the players are in that position of saying like, we're looking around, we're seeing all these numbers. You won't tell us, you're telling us you're going to have these losses, but like, we have no visibility into how you're getting to that number. Like if you wanted the players to be reasonable with their ask, give them the numbers. The other thing I thought was really interesting was I saw somebody say, you can't claim that these women are idiots or that they don't understand it. Women's professional basketball players, they don't get to leave college early for professional ball. They stay and they all get degrees. And a lot of them have degrees in economics, but like sports management, like things like that. Like you can't sit back and say like, they don't understand.
Well, and you can't say that like they
also
don't,
that's rude.
You can't say that they don't understand or that they're not getting the whole picture when you won't give them the whole picture. Like
right.
Tell them what the expenses are. Tell them what the gross revenues are. It would be that easy. Sign them to an NDA. They can't talk about this.
Right.
But like you're not telling them what the whole picture is, but yet you expect them to just agree with what you say it is.
Right. It's like when you were a kid and your parents would just be like, because I said so.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So
ridiculous.
We're going to come back to this. I expect there's going to be some fireworks now after these two kind of big headlines this week. Obviously we're staying close to it and more to come.
Yeah. All right. Let's try to get through this. Let's wrap this up. We've got what to watch. Like we said earlier, NCAA collegiate hockey tournaments are starting this weekend for the different conferences. I believe in women's hockey, there are 5. I picked out, and people are going to say I'm biased, picked out the WCHA tournament because you're going to be looking at I don't know if these numbers have changed. I know Minnesota State's has changed, but number 1 Wisconsin, number 3 Minnesota, number 2 Ohio State, number 10 Minnesota Duluth, and number 14 now Minnesota State, all playing in that tournament. So it's one of the most high-powered conferences that we have in hockey. So
for sure. And it'll be interesting too. You had mentioned this with the PWHL, but will specifically the Badgers, I would say, because they had the most players at the Olympics, get more audience. Both in, I think they had relatively well in attended games in person at Kohl Center there in Madison, but will we see more kind of broadcast audience? And I think all of these are being broadcast. If I remember when I looked at it earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I think all these
Fox 9 or
you'll get these on Big Ten Plus.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, those are all this weekend, Fridays and Saturdays. Kind of depends on what game you want to watch, but evenings and afternoons for those.
And I think they play a best of 3 series in this. Okay. I think, I don't know if you mentioned that. So it's not just like a one and done.
Yeah.
They kind of play through the weekend and see who comes out.
Absolutely. Moving on to NCAA basketball. I think we got 3 here.
I mean, honestly, it's almost the time, y'all.
All of these are literally basically some teams are fighting for seed.
Yeah.
Like where they want to get seeded in these. We have number 9 Duke at number 22 North Carolina. Kind of fighting for that ACC tournament positioning. They play Sunday at 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Nice.
Next, we've got number 10 Ohio State and number 18 Michigan State. Top 20 Big Ten collision. Again, these are just looking for how can we push that seed up? How can we go into our conference tournaments a little bit higher seed there?
Yeah.
That one is Sunday at 11 as well.
I know where I'll be at 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
On my couch.
And then we have number 3 South Carolina and number 16 Kentucky. I fully expect South Carolina to win, but you never know this late in the season against the top 20 team here. So Kentucky will be looking to improve their ranking and shift that power dynamic. So
nice.
That's going to be 1 p.m. on SEC Network, which is also, I think, an ESPN network type thing.
All right.
So
y'all better believe we're going to be diving into the tournament stuff coming up.
We might have to do a bracket.
Oh, we have to do a bracket.
All right. Like we said, PWHL is back on Thursday. First few sets of games here. We have Montreal taking on New York. So number 3 versus number 4. Thursday night at 6 Central. We have Toronto taking on Seattle at 10 p.m. Eastern, or I guess 9 Central on Friday. Boston taking on Ottawa at 1 o'clock Central on Saturday, and then Minnesota taking on Montreal Sunday at noon.
Okay, I just have to point this out. If you wanted to just have a women's sports festival on Sunday, you could watch those 2 basketball games and then the third one, but also swap in some hockey because you can watch Minnesota, Montreal, Marie-Philippe Poulin, the Canadian captain, leads that team along with a couple other Canadian nationals. Then you got Toronto and Vancouver, a battle of Canada or whatever. And then you turn around and you watch the U.S. women's national team take on Argentina in the afternoon. We should be going to a bar of their own. We should be going to the women's sports bar here. Okay. All right. Sorry. I noticed that.
Yeah, it is. It's a jam-packed day. And then we are looking at Unrivaled. We have 4 games on Friday to complete the regular season. We're going to be looking at 1 at noon Central. These are a little bit different. They have them midday on Friday. So noon Central, we have Rose versus Phantom, Ghost Gang. We have 1:15 Central, Mist versus Vinyl. 6:30 Central, Breeze versus Laces, and 7:45 Hive versus Lunar Owls. We still don't know the seeding for the playoffs.
No.
And before we jumped into this recording session, there were some games going on, and the Lunar Owls were still in it. In last
Everyone's
place.
still alive, y'all.
Yes.
At least as far as
when
we started recording. Yeah. So Phantom have definitely locked up a 1 or 2 seed, which means they'll automatically advance to the semis.
Yep.
On Saturday, which are being played at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, which is another taken unrivaled on the road. Mist has clinched, Breeze have clinched, the Laces have clinched, and the Rose have clinched. So those first 2 seeds, though, really important. That means you get that automatic bye
and move on to the semifinals.
So I think it's a battle between the Laces and the Mist to get that, which means that those 2 games there, Mist versus Vinyl and Breeze versus Laces. Breeze needs to win that game.
That'll be interesting.
We will be watching that.
And then
closely.
Going into Saturday is the first round of the playoffs, 2 games in the evening there. And then, like you said, moving on to the semifinals on Monday in the evening, 6:30 Central and 7:45.
And then the chip.
We'll talk about it before next week, but next Wednesday, 8:30 Central will be the championship.
So exciting. I told Alex, I was like, I'm going to be sad when that's done.
Yeah.
Like, we've watched so much Unrivaled. It's been so much fun.
Especially if there's no WNBA season. It's going to be a real bummer.
Well, then they're just going to keep going, I think. Some way, somehow.
And don't forget that game on Sunday, like you said, the U.S. Women's National Team versus Argentina.
Do not forget,
Argentina,
do not sleep on that. Yeah. Yes, that game is coming up. The NWSL season starts. It's just around the corner. We've got content planned out for weeks, y'all.
Have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, we're planning to bring to you some stuff on the LPGA, the WTA. We got to dig into that a little bit more.
We've got a few special segments we're starting to think through. So a little teaser.
Yeah, for real. If any of you listening want to learn more about like a specific league or team or coach or player or system or whatever, like reach out to us. We're planning to potentially start to add in little evergreen content, some true deep dives. I think What's the Story?
What's the story?
The working title for those episodes.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Yeah. We have time for losers and winners.
We have time for losers. We always have time for
All
losers and winners.
Man, I'm trying to think through. I didn't really have a loser. I have some losers, but they're not within the realm of women's sports.
Kind of pertaining to women's sports.
It's hard. I think the only thing that I came up with as a loser, and it's not really a loser, Canada's hockey team. They just got bad puck luck.
Yeah.
They lost the game. Sometimes being good is what you need, but sometimes you just need a little bit of luck, and it just didn't go their way.
I think the men's team would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Probably more so.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I have 2. One, I think some recent reporting I read around the WNBA stuff has me like my sensors really up, like more than they've been. And I've been pretty skeptical about that whole situation. But my other one is that the Olympics are over.
Yeah.
I realize you all might be happy that they're over, so I'm not gushing about them every episode, but just like so fun.
Yeah.
And like I said a couple episodes ago, I love them. So I am excited that we have some new things to fill in coming up here with season starting and stuff like that. But I'm going to go with being just a little sad.
Yep.
That's over.
Yeah. Winner wise.
Women's sports.
I mean, I didn't want to be generic, but I was going to say us. Like, NWSL, women's national team, hopefully a WNBA season, PWHL's back.
Yeah.
College hockey finals.
Basketball tournaments coming up. We're way over our normal time today because there's so much to talk about. My call sheet was 12 pieces of paper long. Like, what a moment.
Yeah.
What a moment. And like all great stories. We could talk about all of them for so long. I'll add to that though. The way that our girls get excited.
Yes.
To watch these women.
Yes.
is really like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
They're always asking, they're always interested.
Yep.
They're really into Unrivaled.
Our youngest is always I'm cheering for the Cats. You're cheering for this.
They'll like look at the logos on the TV, which was really funny during the NFL season.
Yes.
They called the Patriots the Cowboys. But then they're like, the Cowboys are the Stars.
Yes.
Right. But for Unrivaled, they have like, there's a team called the Hive, but they just have bees. So they're called the Bees. There's a team called the Mist, called the Snows.
The Snows.
So it's a good time over here in the Tripp household. And we're just happy to be a part of it.
It's a great time.
So, all right, y'all. Till next week. Where can they find us?
RTG_pod on socials, and email us at raisingthegamepod@gmail.com.
Yeah. Just like we said at the top, appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Next time.
See you later.
Bye.